Hi guys, it's Katie from Pumpkin Latte Lover. I've just started my Booktube channel, and so I thought a great way to start would be to do the new Booktuber tag. And this was created by Between Chapters, I believe. Let me just take a look here. Yeah, Between Chapters. And I thought that she did a really good job creating this content, and I thought it's a great way for you guys to get to know me. So all of the questions are on my laptop over here, and I'll just be reading from them while I answer them for you. So if you see me looking over here, that's what I'm looking at. So the first question is, where are you joining us from? I am from Canada. I live in Ontario specifically. Right now it's springtime here, but you wouldn't be able to tell because there is actually some really crummy weather going on. It's only 7 degrees Celsius, and I'm really getting tired of it. Number 2 is, how old are you? So I'm 28. I really like that this question is included because I find it really interesting to know where people are coming from when they talk about the books that they're reading. There's such a big varied interest on Booktube as to what people are reading. Some people really love young adult, some people like only adult, classics, fantasy, whatever it is. And I find that your experience in life really contributes to how you feel about the book. So some of the books that I loved when I was a teenager, I might still love now, but for different reasons, or my perspective on how the characters are feeling, or who they are, or what happens in the plot can really depend on how I feel personally, or my own personal experiences, or where I'm at in life as well. So I find that really interesting to know the age of who's speaking to me when I watch YouTube videos, so that I can kind of see where they're coming from. Why did you join Booktube? So I've actually had a YouTube account for years, but I've always wanted to join Booktube, but I have always been a little bit nervous. I'm a very social person, but I can tend to be shy when I meet a lot of new people, and obviously in the world of YouTube you would be meeting a lot of new people. Also, I'm not very technologically savvy, so the idea of creating content and editing and all of that was kind of intimidating to me, but I have finally decided enough is enough, get over my fear, and try something new. What is the meaning behind your channel name if it's something other than your name? So years ago I wanted to start subscribing to channels and making sure that I was getting all the videos from people that I loved watching, so I decided to create an account. And right at that time is when all these articles and memes and all that stuff were coming out about being a basic you know what, and I was drinking a pumpkin latte at the same time as seeing an article about Lauren Conrad being the most basic girl of all, and all of the descriptions about what made her basic I was wearing or doing or drinking a pumpkin latte, and so I just thought that was really funny coincidence, and I clearly am the most basic, boring person, so I made that as my name. I couldn't think of anything else, and at that point I had no real aspirations to have my own channel, put out videos, put out content, so I didn't really think of something really clever, so there we are. What type of books do you read, want to talk about here? So I read a lot of different books. I will say that I am not super into the fantasy, like science fiction type genre. I also was never interested in young adult. I never really read it, got into it, until I started watching Booktube, and there was a lot of channels that were really focusing on young adult books, and the more that I watched them and saw how passionate people felt about them, the different stories they were talking about really piqued my interest, and so I thought, okay, well I'll see what this is all about. So therefore I went ahead and got a few of the young adult books that were really popular on Booktube as well as in general, and I got into them, and it's been interesting to kind of discover that genre because I've never really gotten into it before. And there's some books that I've really appreciated, some that I feel like that's kind of why I wasn't into that genre. So it's been mixed, but I'm really glad that it gave me the opportunity to try new things, try new books. But with that being said, most of the books that I'll be talking about on this channel will be adult books. But I do read everything from classics to contemporary to nonfiction, fiction, you name it. It's just basically whatever I feel like that month or that in that moment. And that's basically that. So, who are some of your favorite authors? So, forgive me on this channel because I am the worst at pronouncing people's names properly, but I would say that my all-time favorite author would be Jane Austen, but in the past year or so, I've really gotten into the Outlander series, and Diana Gabaldon, I believe that's how you pronounce her name, is the author of the Outlander series, and I've really enjoyed those. What's the last book you read? So the last book I read was The Martian. I have not seen the movie. I don't like seeing movies until I have read the book because I find that it kind of ruins the reading experience for me if I read the book after seeing the movie. I much prefer to see how they've made the characters come to life, that I've grown to love or hate while reading the book after I've read it. And I don't like the plot being ruined for me if I've watched a movie and now I'm reading the book. So I've read the book. I didn't think that I would enjoy it as much as I did. I'm not a very science, math type person. So there's a lot of science speak in the book, and I actually was really engrossed in the book, really enjoyed it. It went by really fast for me despite the fact that I thought it wouldn't, because I don't understand a lot of the NASA language. So it says, what are you currently reading? I'm only about 20 pages in. I started reading on my lunch break at work, and then it got busy. I had to go back to work. So what is it even called? One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Is that what it's called? I'm having a moment here. I'm a little tired. But yeah, again, I'm only 20 pages in, so I'll have to update you on how I feel about it. What do you use for bookmarks? I don't really. I use whatever is on hand, or if I don't, then Goodreads is actually my bookmark, because I'll put into Goodreads what I'm currently reading, and then I'll update my status when I've finished reading for the day, and that will be my page number. And then if I don't remember my page number the next time I pick up the book, then I just go onto Goodreads and I see where I currently left off. Show us your current TBR pile. I would show you, but it is a very large pile. Some books that I have bought used are currently waiting to be read. I'm on a waiting list for some ebooks through my library. There's a list of books that I would like to read, but I don't currently have in possession. So what I'll do is I'll link my Goodreads profile in the down bar, and then any book that I'm interested in, I usually will go into my TBR list there. Which do you prefer, hardcover or paperback, ebooks or physical books, owning or borrowing books? So I definitely prefer physical books, and in that sense I love old books. I love used bookstores, libraries. That smell of a really good used book, you guys know what I'm saying, is my preference. But I do a lot of travel. I am on the go a lot, so I do read a lot of e-books just simply for the sake of it being easy, to bring that along with me. I used to travel, and I went backpacking in Europe, and I brought 6 books in my backpack, and that's not ideal because, one, it's heavy, and so I would leave, as I finished each book, I would leave it where I was staying, in the hospital, hotel, whatever it may be, for somebody else to enjoy. But then also, that was hard because if I really love the book, then I don't want to leave it behind, but I can't carry it for the rest of my trip. And then what would happen is that I'd get through all of my books, and I would be left with no books left to read. And if you are like me, a really big book lover, having no book to read on a 5-hour train ride is my own personal version of hell. So using the ebooks, it's a lot easier. If I finish the ones that I have on there, I can download a new one. It's portable, it's light, really easy to use. So I will say, I know some people might hate this, it's a little bit controversial. I do like ebooks in that sense, but if it's a book that I love, I really do love having an actual physical copy. The other thing that I really don't like is if it's a book that I love, or a classic book, or just any book in general, I hate getting the version that has the movie cover on it, or Oprah's Book Club on it, or any of those gimmicky things. I really just appreciate the version that's the classic look, or what the illustrator first intended for that book. What book or series got you into reading? So I've always been a reader. This is a bit of a nerdy confession, but I used to actually get in trouble from my parents for reading too much. They would tell me, put down the book, it's time to do your chores, you need to go outside, you need to, do something other than just read. So I've always been a big reader, but some of the books that I loved when I was really young are The BSG by Roald Dahl. That's one of my favorites of all time. The Little House series, I loved that to death. We used to have dress up as character day at school. I always went as Laura Ingalls Wilder, which I did win one year, so I mean, she's amazing. I loved the Anne of Green Gables series. I loved Nancy Drew, the really old hard copy versions that my mom read when she was younger. Always just loved those books. And then as I got older, I would start to read, The Babysitter's Club, Sweet Valley High. Those always cause a lot of, reminiscing when I see those books out. Also, on a side note, I noticed the Babysitter's Club has comic books now. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I saw them in chapters the other day. Threw me for a bit of a loop. And then when I got to high school, I really loved Memoirs of a Geisha. What are some other books? I got really into Jane Austen then. A lot of classics. I really loved the type of books that were on your, English class reading list. And I've just always loved books, so I can't say there's one particular series that got me into the love of reading. How did you discover Booktube? I can't remember exactly how. I feel like there was maybe a book I was reading and the movie was coming out and I wanted to see the trailer, and I think I maybe put that into YouTube, the name of the movie coming out, and then all of these reviews on the book popped up, and I think that's how I started really finding out that there was this whole world of Booktube, and I loved it. I was so excited to discover it, and I think one of the first people on YouTube that I discovered was Chapter Stacks, and I've loved her ever since then. I watch her videos regularly. What challenges do you think you'll face with your own channel? I, again, am not technologically savvy, so, you tend to see people with really cool intros and captions and all of these things, and I think that will be, I'll be needing to get used to doing that. I'm not really even sure where to begin. And I think the other challenge would be, lately my work has been really crazy, so I haven't had as much time to read as I would like, so I just hope that I can keep up the pace with my channel. Where else can we find you? Link up. Social media. So I'll put my links in the down bar for my Instagram and my Goodreads. That's as far as I've got, really, other than my personal Facebook. And then just as a side note, all of the questions are finished for the tag. But I just wanted to add that I'm a huge lover of reading. It's inspired my love of travel, I'm sure, because I've read books from all over the world, and I always imagined myself in their worlds. And so then as I got older, I was really, inspired to travel, always wanted to travel, and that's also been a big part of my life. I wish I could travel more if I could financially, but in the meantime, between travels, that's what I'm doing all the time. I'm planning for future trips, researching them, and, planning them. So, therefore, on my channel, I am going to be mostly Booktube, but I would like to integrate a few videos here and there on my travels if anybody seems to be interested in them. I just got back from a trip to Iceland, and I did film a bit while I was there, so I can post that as a vlog hopefully soon. If anybody's interested, hopefully they are. But if people don't seem to be interested in my travel life, then I might not include those in the future either. So we'll see how it goes. Again, I'm brand new, so I'll be learning as much as you guys are watching or giving feedback, and hopefully you like my videos and my content, and we'll go from there. So nice to meet everybody, and I'll see you in another